we bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Diego Dario, and in tonight's game plan, we've got a brand new series of hot takes for the upcoming UAAP Season 85 Men's Basketball Tournament.
We'll also talk about the crucial finals matchup between the reigning champions of Spikers Turf and the NU Santa Elena Nationals. And we'll take a look at what's happening inside the 2022 FIBA Basketball Women's World Cup. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. The UAAP Season 85 Men's Basketball Tournament officially kicks off tomorrow. So, the stage is set to bring out the hottest takes before the tip-off, making his highly anticipated return to the game. My goodness, the one, the only, Mr. Hot Takes himself, UAAP analyst Jello Vito. Jello, welcome back.
Hi, it's good to be back. Kaya pala, Pao, medyo mainit sa studio today.
Oo nga eh. It's not because the aircon is low, it's high, but it's because...
It's ready for the hot takes.
This guy is ready. So, ako, aminin ko, I did not read the script for your body intentionally.
Okay.
Kasi gusto kong mainis eh.
Gusto mo ma-surprise, basically.
Oo, Jeg. So, take it away here because I honestly don't know what's coming up.
Alright, for the first hot take of Mr. Hot Take, FEU will be this year's dark horse team.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, bakit?
Okay, first of all, malaking bagay yung absence ni RJ Barrientos. That's one. Ang laking gap nun for me. And second of all, they're quite young. Let's say, kahit sabihin natin si Royce Fork is still there, LJ Gonzalez still there. But relatively young, yung experience, medyo wala pa dun. But I really feel that they will make surprises just because they're much hungrier, they're much younger, and yung experience gusto pa nilang kumuha. And I think in the start of the first round, dyan nila makukuha yun.
So, when you call them the dark horse, kasi I feel that you're taking that title away from a team like NU, who was just perfect in the preseason, and Adamson, who feel that they are a lot better than the close games last year.
But also,
would suggest.
this also, I mean, discredits the fact that FEU has the longest active streak when it comes to getting into the Final Four. So, I think that's why it's a hot take.
Yeah. Alright, so, first of all, defend yourself.
Hindi, ako, I really feel na yung FEU, sila yung parang susundot dun sa number 4. Eh. Parang sila yung
sure na.
Pero hindi pa talaga
sila.
sure na kasi again, gaya nga nasabi ninyo, Adamson's there, NU's there, but I really feel na sila yung manggugulo sa coaching system.
Really?
So yun yung abangan natin sa second round. No?
Okay. Sige. So, the next one, I just peeked down. I saw the name, I did not see the take. Ito, speaking of Adamson, you have a take about Jerome. What is it?
You'll be the MVP.
What? Okay.
You'll be the MVP.
Okay. So, Jerome Lastimosa will be the MVP this year according to Jello Vito. Mga Atenista out there, please send in your hate tweets right now. Jegs, sorry, please take it from here muna.
I mean, there might be a chance. I mean, Jerome Lastimosa is an amazing point guard. Probably the best point guard in the UAAP right now. I've played with him in the off-season. He's an amazing point guard, great pace. But also, MVP means stats, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna take away stats from guys like Ange Kwame, guys like Mike Phillips, Jels. What do you think? Why will Jerome Lastimosa be the MVP?
Number 1, last season, he was number 1 in scoring. Matandaan niya.
Okay.
Number 1 in scoring. And number 2, kaya niyang i-lead yung Adamson into a Final Four spot. And I really feel na ito yung magiging breakout season niya. Kasi everyone was saying na he's pro-ready last season pa.
Right.
And I really think na yung development niya as a player and as a point guard, pang MVP talaga.
Yeah, so I just had to double check. Yes, number 1 nga siya sa scoring. Of course, I'm here doubting Jello Vito, but he does his homework. Okay, so... Oh, wait lang
It's been spicy.
Jerome Lastimosa as MVP, that is definitely a take. So, ito, I thought, magalit talaga yung mga Ateneo fans dito. According to Jello Vito, Ateneo will not make the finals this year. Wow. Okay, go!
No, yun nga, gaya ng pinag-usapan na ninyo ni Diego kanina, you guys were looking at the lineups of the Ateneo. They're not relatively young. They are very young. And sobrang laki nung gap na iniwan ng mga veterans nila like Rafi Verano, Tyler Tio, and all those guys. And I really think na yung experience, kahit sabihin natin na they're Ateneo, kahit sabihin na natin na they have Coach Tab Baldwin putting up that system and they've really had a great preseason. I really think na yung experience pagdating sa dulo. Kasi again, pagdating sa dulo, Final Four, crunch time, dyan nag-iiba lahat eh. Dyan lumalabas yung experience, dyan lumalabas yung grit.
Especially in the UAAP.
Especially in the UAAP.
Right.
Alam mo, I'm looking at the, again, individual stats here kasi syempre, we're looking for that go-to guy for Ateneo. But then Ateneo actually functioned as a great team, even with only one guy in the top 10 of scoring, that's Ange Kwame. Isn't that, and he's still there. Are we doubting Ange Kwame right now? Kasi you don't even have him as MVP, mind you. Pero are you doubting what his impact could be dito sa Ateneo?
Malaking factor yung current injury niya ngayon. I really feel na he's not entering the UAAP this season. He's not 100%. There have been reports saying na, again, Coach Tab is even saying na he's not 100%. He might not be that guy for Ateneo this season. Probably in the second round, sana maging okay siya. Sinasabi niya na si Gio Chu yung magiging impactful guy for Ateneo. And yun nga, again, he needs to be ready and be healthy.
Yeah.
Naniniwala pa ba tayo kay Coach Tab pag yung mga pre-season na ganito? He's always like that. He loves playing mind games, but that's why he's very effective.
So the last two, let's combine it in the Jegs. I'll let you say this because it'll make both of us happy.
Okay,
sort of.
For the last
what do
two
you?
takes, two hot takes of Jello Vito, the DLSU Green Archers will go farther than the Blue Eagles. So basically, he's saying that the Green Archers will make it to the finals against the Fighting Maroons. But for Jello's fifth take and last take, the UP Fighting Maroons will win back-to-back. Can you just explain these two takes, Jello?
Okay, let's start with the DLSU take. I really feel that LaSalle, kasi dalawa lang naman yun. Again, I'm looking back into experience kasi everything is in hindsight pa rin naman ngayon. But with the composition of DLSU's lineup, sobrang lakas sila na to a point na they only lost two, Lohera and Baltazar. Pero yung core nila is still intact. They still have Evan Nelly, they still have Shawnee Winston, Michael Phillips, who's also part of the mythical team last year. Ang laking magiging role niya this season. And the new guy, Robinson.
Oh, and Robinson.
And obviously, Kevin Cambao, di ba? And yung confidence nitong team na to is up there, winning the PBA D-League Championship. And I really think, again, this season, LaSalle will go further.
Okay. All right. So, okay, we're gonna have to leave it at that. Pero yung champion niya is UP. Unbiased selection according to the
Is that
both of them.
unbiased?
Unbiased, yeah.
Well, anyway, look, honestly, look at the rosters and you'll probably agree with that. So, Jello, Ateneo is gonna be all over your social media very soon. Maraming salamat. I really appreciate your takes.
Thank you, guys.
And you coming over here really rises my blood.
And we'll see him at the games also.
Yeah,
we'll be
for
covering
sure.
the games. Don't forget to catch the UAAP Season 85 men's basketball games every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday on One Sports and the Varsity Channel. The exciting tournament will also be available on Cignal Channel 263 HD and on Cignal Play Premium. And after the break, we'll find out how the Nationals overpowered the defending champions in Game 1 of the Spikers Turf Open Conference Finals. Stay tuned, you're watching The Game.
Welcome back. You're watching the game. The finals action is heating up in the Spikers Turf Open Conference as NU Santa Elena National stunned the defending champs, Cignal HD Spikers. Now to talk more about the keys to winning for their match tomorrow, we have with us volleyball analyst Noreen Go. Noreen, thank you very much for coming back on the show.
Always excited to be here, guys.
All right, so I felt that was tentative. I don't know kung natakot ka talaga or but no, let's go on first and talk about the battle for third before we move on to the finals.
Right.
So that battle for third, Navy swept VNS in their third game. VNS, based on what you've seen in the semifinal round, only won one set. It isn't necessarily a surprising result based on what we've seen so far, is it?
For me, yeah. For me, VNS is a classic example of a team in between. Like in the semifinals, you have 4 teams, right? The 3 teams on top, which is Cignal, Navy, and NU, they never beat. So they're really in that middle part because they're a new team. I mean, they formed the team really late as far as I heard. But for me, very impressive. Just for us and their fans, they look forward to the next conference.
It'll be really interesting.
Now for VNS, what should they do to redeem themselves in their next face-off?
I feel they just have to enjoy themselves. But you manage the expectations because, I mean, you're a new team. You're playing against people like Joshua Mandal and De La Vega. They're pretty strong. They've been playing so long. So, just want to enjoy, have a last game, maybe win a set, maybe win the game, but just play your game and enjoy. You never know what will happen.
Have to have that experience there and hopefully build on something moving forward. Now let's move on to the finals matchup here. Of course, NU stunned Cignal in game number 1. Let's be honest here. This Cignal team is heavily favored going into this one because of their roster, because of on paper, they're just so strong, filled with national team players. How did NU do it?
For me, really, I'd like to tip my hat off, my entire big hat off to Coach Dante because he built a system. We've seen that through the years. He built a system for this NU volleyball program, and you can see they're just following it to a T. They're following the game plan of Coach Dante. And with that victory in the semifinals against Cignal, they became an entire different team. Look at their facial expression, the look in their eyes. They were confident and they knew they could beat Cignal again.
Well, the system was amazing, but can you talk about how important also for a program to be this consistent? Talk about the recruitment of NU.
Recruitment is a given already, I feel, right now in volleyball, especially with NU, because, I mean, time immemorial, when you think about it, NU, nobody really wants to go there, but now they've built a name, a franchise for themselves. Everybody wants to go to NU as well, right? So that for me, recruitment is already up there for the men's program.
And I feel like this series, regardless of how it will end, it already is a great advert for the performance or at least the development of these young players in this program. And the UAAP rivals should be watching out for this NU team. Now, moving on to Cignal, though, what do you feel they need to do to bounce back? Because obviously, 4-set game, Cignal felt like they were in it for the first 3 sets, let go a bit towards the end. What needs to change?
Well, when I was texting with Sam Carranza, one of the writers, I actually said...
Very familiar.
I actually said they have to change their system. Abrupt changes. You have to adapt to what's going on in the tournament. If you're seeing NU's playing so well, they were the better team, obviously, in game number 1. You have to make your changes because your system doesn't work. I mean, we have to be frank, we have to be honest. A lot of people might get hurt, but it's not working. They lost 2 straight games to such a young team, so they have to make their own changes right now.
And what changes specifically can Cignal make? I mean, they're in the finals already against NU.
My personal opinion, okay? I could be wrong, but I think they should really lean on Mark Espejo.
Okay.
During the game, we were covering it in a live stream. I was like, yes, I know, I see the system, ball distribution, giving it to Luis Ramirez and so on and so forth.
They're so deep, right?
Because they're so deep, but it didn't work. So maybe it's time now to live and die with Mark Espejo. Again, his health is still questionable. We don't know if it's 100%, but still, I mean, you give him the sets, show the world how good he really is.
So I want to focus on a couple of standout players here for both these teams. We'll start off first with NU. Si Buds Budin, 22 points, 18 excellent receptions, really doing a lot on both ends of the floor para sa NU. Just how impressive has Buds been?
He's such a revelation. I mean, at the start of the tournament, he was coming off the bench. Then he earned his starting position. Then he got better. I mean, such a short tournament and his maturity. He's doing it in serving, given already the spiking, but
Yeah.
he can also defend. All-around player. So, you know, you have Nico Almendras et al., but you
Yeah.
have a Budin to go to as well. So that's making their opponents right now, Cignal, think, who are we going to mark? Everyone now is a marked man.
So Budin doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But for Cignal, you mentioned JP Bugawan as the standout player in that game 1.
I think the problem with Cignal right now is their consistency. A lot of
Yeah.
inconsistencies with the players. And I feel JP Bugawan, he's been the more consistent one in terms of blocking, in terms of serving at an ace, and of course his quick or his middle. He's always on the go, and that's why I think he's a bright spot for Cignal. And you're hoping, if you're a Cignal fan, that he will click again in game number 2.
So, you know, I'm really excited to see how Cignal will bounce back
Yeah.
because, you know, they do have the firepower, they do have the veteran smarts and the savvy. So let's see how the NU Nationals find a way to weather that storm and maybe come out with a sweep over Cignal. But then you look at the way things are poised right now. Do you have any real predictions of, or rather, any obvious adjustments you think that Cignal will make going into the next one? I know you said change system, but then what do you feel needs to change at least most obviously for them?
Well, like I said, no, the changes in dealing with NU. Because before, I feel, even we feel when we're watching, NU's a young team.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to beat a team like
Right.
Cignal, right?
Yeah.
Because you're still in your university. But then they beat them in the semifinals. So that says a lot about the team. They're in it to win it. Now, what's your mindset going to game number 2? There are no pushovers. They have arrived. They're now men. They were boys, but they're now men. We fight them like men. And if they can do the adjustments, maybe go more to Espejo, we never know. We could be looking at a trilogy, not just a sequence.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can catch that very soon. And Noreen, really appreciate you being here and giving us your takes. Alam ko, you didn't really come here for hot takes, but then your hot takes matched our Jelovitos just a while ago. Really appreciate you.
Thanks, Nuri. Thanks,
Thank you.
Nuri. And of course, you can catch the action in the Spikers Third Finals and Battle for Third on Saturday on One Sports and One Sports Plus. And after the break, we'll hear some behind-the-scenes stories of the ongoing 2022 FIBA Women's World Cup. Stay tuned, you're watching The Game. Welcome back to the game. The FIBA Women's World Cup is reaching its final stretch as teams face each other off in the semifinals. Joining us to talk about her experience covering the games live is ABC Women in News and Sports correspondent B. Go. B, welcome to the game.
Hi, Diego. Hi, Pao. Nice to see you guys. Sadly over Zoom, though.
Yeah, you know what? And it's funny because you're literally 10 minutes away if you walk. But B, first of all, congratulations on the good work that you did in Australia covering the FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup. Just before we get into the nitty-gritty of how the games have gone, can you tell us a bit about your experience there, what it meant to you, and of course, the atmosphere surrounding the women's game there?
Yeah, definitely. So I was actually there for the Australian Broadcasting Corporation's Women in News and Sport Initiative's live commentary course. So we had to apply for it. It was available for those female reporters who are from the Philippines and Indonesia because we are covering and hosting the World Cup next year. So this is the Men's Basketball World Cup, by the way. And then definitely the atmosphere was great. You know, we went on a very hot weekend in Sydney. The NRL finals were happening and then the Opals were there and then Team China. So a lot of the Chinese locals who are based in Sydney just came out to support Team China. And of course, world number 1 Team USA.
Were you able to have interactions with some of the players in the World Cup?
Yeah, so for the commentary course, I was assigned to a lot of Team USA games. Praise God for that. And I was able, and you know, we were given a chance to be at the mix zone in the press conference test. So I was really able to interact with WNBA MVP Asia Wilson and Brianna Stewart and even Chelsea Plum, who just won the WNBA championship with the Las Vegas Aces.
Crazy that you're able to be there and rub shoulders and elbows with some of the best in the women's game. But of course, I'm going to ask you to be a little biased here. I'm sure you covered a lot of games there. And what's your favorite one so far?
Oh, my favorite game was definitely, well, anything Team USA was great, but then, you know, the best game, I guess, that I could say was the one I just watched as a fan. It was Australia versus Canada. So it's the world number 3 team versus world number 14, and the score was really close. And finally, I was also able to get like a full fan experience of the World Cup and learning those new cheers by the Australians. They go, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi.
Yeah, we all know that for some reason. But yes, it must have been great.
Now, talking about the players naman, no? I mean, you're a true fan of the Team USA, but who are you a new fan of, specifically a certain player?
Honestly, like I was surprised with Chelsea Plum because at the start, I definitely wanted to see Asia play, talk to Asia, but then I think Chelsea Plum was so underrated for me because I just felt her energy and her skill in playmaking when, you know, just her skills amazing from beyond the arc. And then the best, I think, was her personality off the court. You know, she really has this like loud personality where in the mix zone, she'll suddenly put on these like huge, like very bright earrings. And then, you know, I know that you're not allowed to take selfies in the mix zone, but then she was actually available for selfies for like some reporters.
So do you have one?
Yes, I do.
All right, so there's a reason why she's back here in the Philippines and no longer
it's
there.
Because of that, but
because she disobeyed those rules.
But all I can say though, Pao and I are also fans of Kelsey Plum.
Yes, we are.
Who isn't, right?
Yeah. But before we let you go here, we need to talk a bit about the basketball about to happen. Of course, there's still the semifinals. Canada, USA, Australia against China. I think it's fair to say USA are still the heavy favorites, but then there's always a rivalry when you talk about USA and Canada.
So the semifinal results are actually in. USA won by 40 points over Canada, 83 to 43, and then for Australia versus China, wow, like the game just ended now, and I think China won by one field goal in like the last few seconds. So that was really heartbreaking for the Opal fans and the home crowd. But then, so it's going to be a USA-China matchup again. So USA-China met in the group stage, but USA won 77-69. 63. But then what's interesting though about this finals matchup is that Sydney has a lot of Chinese locals, and when they're gonna definitely go out all out and go support Team China, and their crowd is definitely going to be so raucous and amazing.
I cannot wait to hear about and see the finals, and of course see the fallout from what the results of the semifinals were, especially for Australia and Canada. B, again, really appreciate you coming on the show, and of course congratulations on your awesome experience, and hopefully we get to see you and some of your colleagues there call more games here at home.
Thanks, B.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Diego.
And we'll be watching the finals for sure. Check out the ongoing semifinals matchup of the FIBA Women's World Cup live on One Sports and One Sports Plus. By the way, the semis just ended, so you can catch the finals there.
Very soon, yes.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Diego Dario.
Catch us weeknights here on One News, One Sports, and One Sports Plus. I'm Paolo Del Rosario, and this has been The Game.